Man, oh man, do I have a lot to say today. I'm going to talk about a couple of things that they're going to seem to be disjointed and not connected, but if you stay with me to the end, you'll see me tie them together. So, the first thing I want to talk about is being in the desert. I don't mean being in the desert physically as where I live. I mean when you find yourself in a desert season. It's a season of inactivity. It's a season when everything you seem to put your hands to do doesn't quite work out. You hear this phrase all the time that nothing grows in the desert. That's not true. There's plenty of vegetation in the desert, but here's the trick about that vegetation. It's really hardy because the root system has to go down really, really deep to find water. So you can't really kill a weed in the desert if you just cut it off. You have to literally pull it up by its root system. And most times, the root system is so long, so deep, you don't get all of the plant. So the plant always comes back. See, when you're in a desert season, that's exactly what's happening to you. Your thinking, the way that you were processing information, it was right here on the surface all the time. That's why one day you have this idea, the next day you have that idea. You can't really find a way to process the information that's really deep rooted. When you're in a desert season and you can't produce anything, what's happening in that moment is you're beginning to work on yourself, that internal understanding of who you are, why you are, and how you can be better. Your root system is getting deeper and deeper and deeper. And then what happens when you come out of that desert season is anyone who rose up on you and says something about you or says a definition about you that they think you are, it doesn't matter. Because you've learned who you really are in that desert season and nothing can shake you. So if you're having trouble holding on to an identity, it's probably because you haven't sat with yourself long enough for that identity to take root. You really have to spend some time on yourself, by yourself, without being defined by the girlfriend or boyfriend or the parent or the teacher or the other mentor who are all influential. And if you're not careful, they will tell you exactly who you're supposed to be and you'll never question it. And then at some point as you age, you'll say, wait a minute, I don't even like football. Wait a minute, I don't even understand how I got into this. How did I stay in taking these lessons or these piano lessons or whatever it is for so long and I actually hate this instrument? What you got to do is discover in your desert season, first, how you got there. That's important. Secondly, why are you there? Thirdly, how long are you going to be in it? And it's up to you to decide when you've had enough and you want to move on. And then finally, when you come out of it, and those same old temptations that sent you into the desert in the first place come against you, do you have the skills now to handle them? And most of the time, it doesn't take a lot of skill, it just takes courage. It takes the courage of conviction for you to say, that was then, and this is now. That was who I used to be, and this is who I am now. So shoot your best shot. Those bullets don't work on me anymore. I am bulletproof against the things that sent me into the desert. You can't use that on me anymore. Find another tactic because that one doesn't work. That's your journey through the desert and then on the other side. Okay, now you come out of the desert and you're stronger and you're wiser and you're smarter and you think you're bulletproof against the new arrows that have been designed specifically for this moment. See, because we have the bulletproof vest on of the old, snares that used to snare us up, we think we've achieved something. But here's what you need to know, that at every level, there's a new devil. At every level, there's a new skill set that you have to learn in order to achieve what you need to learn at this level and then ascend to the next. So be careful being too cocky when you graduate, because guess what? and now you're in another classroom. And at every level, there's a new devil. There's another thing that you didn't count on that you're going to have to understand. I'll use the example of this. When you were a kid, you used to think $5 was a lot of money. You thought $5 would, you know, buy you the world, because your world was only about the candy or the toy that you wanted to get. And $5 was plenty for you to get the things you needed at that level. But as you got older and you saw the world and you saw other things out there, you started thinking, wow, $5 is no money at all. If I sit here and tell you that you might get to a place one day where $1,000 is no money to you, for those of you who don't have it, you're thinking, you have lost your ever-loving mind. I wish I had $1,000 in my savings. But I can tell you, when you're desiring to do certain things in this world, $1,000 doesn't even get you in the door. Now we get into the things that people want and need and desire that require incredible resources. Now, the average person will say, if I want something that costs more, I'm just going to work harder for it. I'm going to work 3 or 4 jobs if I have to achieve that thing I want. There's another contingency out there that says, if I want it, let me see who I can manipulate to get it. And trust me when I tell you, as soon as you start earning money, there are people who will come out of the woodwork to take it from you. Oh, they call themselves loan officers. They will sell you a car you can't afford. They'll help you get into a house that you certainly can't pay the mortgage on after a period of time. Because sustaining a blessing is the hardest thing you will ever have to do at this level. You can pray for the blessing, you can even get blessed, but can you hold on to the blessing? Can you sustain it? There is a desert season even in blessings. There's a moment when you're first blessed, you cannot spend what you were just gifted with. You need to get used to holding that amount of money and doing nothing with it. You need to get used to seeing yourself at a certain level. Because if you don't get used to that, you know what you'll do? You'll spin yourself right back down into the level you just came from. Because we're comfortable there. We know how to operate at that level. But how do you operate with a surplus? How do you operate when you have more than you need and you think you're not supposed to have it? That's your first problem. And the second problem is you think you have to bless somebody else because, God forbid, you have an abundance. That's the desert level of abundance. I'm telling you, it's the one that trips up everybody. And we're going to talk about that over this coming week. I have a lot to say on this subject, and I think some of you are in the exact position to hear what I have to teach about this. It's a graduate class, I will call it. It is not for beginners. It is absolutely for the people who are now beginning to prosper and they don't know what to do with their prosperity. When I tell you there's a desert in front of you that is about your prosperity, that prosperity can become an albatross around your neck if you don't have a plan for it, stay tuned. That lesson is the one that I am living out even as we speak. So it's going to be real and it's going to be raw. Until then, I'm Brother Eden Douglas, also known as Eden in the Desert, and loving every minute of my life. Peace.